Welcome back to Road to FIRE. We're a family of three documenting our journey to FIRE, financial independence, retire early. Let's chat about using a Roth conversion ladder for FIRE. I'll share the 4 easy steps to setting up a Roth conversion ladder if we plan to use this in the near future and a detailed example plan with all real numbers, so please hang with me. The goal is to create enough cash flow to not need a Roth conversion ladder, to have enough passive income streams that cover all of your expenses long before you may need or want to start building a conversion ladder. Cash flow is king. It is. But creating cash flow streams of income is not always easy, and it does take time, so a Roth conversion can come in handy. We want to retire in 8 years, so we have a few years before we may need to start building this ladder, and to be honest, we have not decided if this is the right move for us, and I'll outline why. But I always get this question: how can you access your retirement money early? What if you want to retire years, sometimes decades early without having to incur the 10% penalty? Well, a Roth conversion ladder is the simple answer. Let me explain. But first, what is a Roth? A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account, IRA, that allows qualified withdrawals on a tax-free basis provided certain conditions are satisfied. Fun fact, the Roth was created in 1997 and was named after a former senator. But the key perks of a Roth is simple. Roth IRAs are funded with after-tax dollars. The contributions are not tax deductible. But once you start withdrawing your funds, the money is tax-free. Now this comes in handy as you age and become higher earners entering into higher tax brackets. Tax-free growth is amazing. There are income restrictions, but there are also workarounds. So what is a Roth conversion? Simply put, Roth conversions are simply converting money from a tax-deferred retirement account, such as a 401k, 401(b), or traditional IRA, into a Roth IRA. It's simply moving your untouchable money into a touchable account. But you'll have to pay income taxes on the amount converted at your marginal rate. But specifically with conversions, you can avoid the 10% early withdrawal penalty. That's it. But if you want more details, here are 4 easy steps. Disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor, and this video is intended for entertainment purposes only and holds only my friendly thoughts and opinions. But if you're looking to make adjustments to your investments, consult a financial advisor. So the first step is to calculate your annual expenses. And let me be clear, your future or planned annual expenses. How much do you expect to spend after you hit FI or when you plan to retire early? How are you spending now probably will shift or change when you hit FIRE. You might still want to work a few days a week or completely keep your current job. You might have lower housing costs as you move to another city. This step is key and can be difficult to calculate, but it all comes down to one thing. You have to start budgeting. Tracking your expenses is another way of saying budgeting. And if you hate the B word, just call it a money plan. There are many ways to budget. We use the zero-based budget method, and I'm working on a free spreadsheet download if you want to use our layout. But good old-fashioned Excel works really well for us. But there are apps, programs, cash envelope systems, automation, and many other ways to budget. Tracking and knowing your annual expenses or expense run rate is key to financial independence. It will help you understand how much you need to convert to begin creating a Roth conversion ladder. So our planned annual expenses should be around $45,000 a year. Our son will be out of daycare, our car loan or bad debt should be gone, we should be living in a single-family home versus a house hack, and still in the Midwest. That is why I love Excel. I'm able to play around with formulas and create dummy budgets to help us plan for the future. Now things are bound to change. Of course, I remember in my 20s, right after graduating college, I had all these life plans. Get married at 25, have 2 cars, have a dog, have 2 kids at 28, become a director and a millionaire at 30, and let's just say none of that happened. So expect your plans to evolve. So don't get stuck on your numbers now. Just create a baseline, but because each conversion is created per year, you can adjust as needed along the way. Now, step number 2 is to understand your timeline. It's important to identify or plan when you hope or expect to reach FI. It helps you create your Roth conversion ladder. Do you want to retire in your 20s, or are you shooting for your 30s, or like us, are you planning to retire in your 40s? It's not a competition, but find the timeline that works best for you and your family and start working towards it. We hope to retire in 8 years, and that's our current plan. We might retire earlier or later, but right now that's what we're targeting. It's very hard to plan without creating actionable, measurable, time-bound goals. But your timeline becomes really important because of the 5-year rule. You do not have access to your converted funds or dollars until after 5 full years. The rule is mandated by the IRS. For example, say you decided to convert $40,000 next year in 2020. You pay the taxes needed on them and boom, you are set. Wrong. You do not have access to those funds until 2027 or after 5 years have passed. This is the fine print many people forget. This is why having a clear plan and timeline is definitely needed. You need to be able to clearly articulate when you want to start building your ladder in advance, exactly 5 years in advance. So once you understand your annual expenses and then your timeline, you simply need to do the conversion, and that's step 3. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so please work with your tax accountant and your financial advisor to make these conversions. But essentially, you'll convert the needed funds to cover your annual expenses from your traditional IRA to your Roth IRA. Keep in mind, you have to pay your taxes for each year you create a conversion or a ladder. You pay taxes at your marginal rate for that given year. Keep in mind for Roths, you pay your taxes on the way in versus the way out. Now the last step is really simple. Creating your timeline, understanding your expenses, and making the actual conversions are the hard parts. It was hard for us at least to plan out our life in the next 8 years based on our timeline because there are so many factors that are just unknown. What if health issues arise, or our family expands, or my parents needs me closer to be home due to care needs, or I lose my job, or my husband finds a new job in another state or country? There are so many unknowns, but I can't stress about the unknown. Plans change and that's okay. I'd rather have a plan mapped out than have no plan at all. Once we got serious about FIRE, planning and forecasting our life became a huge priority and a motivator for us overall. Now step number 4 is to withdraw your conversions. When talking about a Roth IRA, you have contributions, conversions, and gains. It's important to know that the IRS treats them all differently. For now, let's only focus on the conversions that you made for your ladder. As you have paid for your taxes on the way in, you will not need to pay your taxes when you withdraw your money, and because it's a conversion, you don't have to pay the 10% withdrawal rate. This is a great way to shift and get your money out earlier than the traditional retirement age. Gains and contributions are handled differently with the IRS. So here's a simple example plan. Let's say that your annual expenses are $40,000 in a year and you plan to retire in 2027. So in 2022, next year, you'll begin creating your conversion ladder. You convert $40,000 from your traditional IRA to your Roth and pay the needed taxes for the next 5 years. And then in 2027, you'll be able to withdraw your 2022 conversion. In 2028, then you'll be able to withdraw your 2023 conversion and so forth. Keep in mind, you want to make sure you still have sufficient funds in your Roth to maintain your retirement for the long run. So yes, you can access your 401k early. I recently learned about the Roth Conversion Ladder by watching our Rich Journey right when we started our FIRE journey aggressively last year. I know this process isn't simple, but it's doable. You just have to plan out where you want to be, when, and how much it will cost to help you start creating your ladder. But because my husband doesn't want to quit his job right now, we are not sure this is the right path for us moving forward. We might use this later after we relocate or when we take gap years to travel the world. But because you have to plan 5 years in advance, we really need to start thinking about our next move soon. Let me know in the comments below if you plan to use a Roth conversion ladder to pay for parts of your early retirement. Now, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. Until next time.